You're a good, good Father. It's who you are. It's who you are. It's who you are. And I'm loved by you. It's who I am. It's who I am. It's who I am.
Hello everyone. Sorry about the late Good Starts post. I ain't done one like this in a while, right? So, today I just wanted to talk a little bit about church and what it means and why we go and things like that. There's a lot of people, and I've dealt with this a lot before today, and people asking me, why do I have to go to church? Why do I need a church to get saved? Things like that. No, you don't need a church to get saved. Jesus doesn't just save people inside a church. So, with that said, why do we go to church? God set up the church in the Old Testament. God wants us to gather together, and he would never get rid of that. We go to church because we need to get together with other Christians that will encourage us and uplift us and push us to have a strong relationship with God. We go there to get fed. We go there to praise with a body. When the people of Israel rejected the plan that God had for them for him to speak to them in person on Mount Sinai, what did God do? He set up a tent. He set up a tabernacle and said, okay, since you don't want to listen to me, since you don't want me to talk to you personally, this is where you will go for me to talk to you. You will set up in a tent and you will wait for Moses to let you know what I'm saying. So back then they had a tabernacle, they had a tent. They went to church to hear what God had to say. Same thing with today. Jesus would never do away with the church building because that's where we go to get encouraged. That's where we go to worship together. That's where we go to be inspired to go outside the four walls and to show the people what we're learning inside the four walls. Jesus will never do away with the church. God will never walk out on the church because God established the church. So with that said, the scriptures that I have to go along with this is this: Acts 2:42, 43, and 44. They devoted themselves to the apostles' teachings and to fellowship and to the breaking of bread and to prayer. Everyone was filled with awe at the many wonders and signs performed by the apostles. All the believers were together and had everything in common. All the believers were together and had everything in common. Yes, we are to gather. That is Hebrews 10, 24 and 25. Let us consider how we may spur one another on toward love and good deeds, not giving up meeting together as some are in the habit of doing, but encouraging one another, and all the more as you see the day approaching, and all the more getting together even more as we see the day approaching, coming together even more as we see the day approaching, encouraging each other and good deeds and love, getting together, forsaking not the gathering of us together. What's the gathering? Church. Yes, you don't have to be in an actual church building to gather. If you're gathering in your home, that's your church. If you're gathering amongst other Christians to fellowship, that can be church also. But we come together to encourage each other in love and good deeds. They devoted themselves to the apostles' teachings. What's the apostles' teachings? They taught them how to live Christian lives. What does the church do? It teaches us how to live Christian lives. And they got together and they broke bread and they got together and they prayed. What do people in churches do? They worship, they show each other how to do things in love, and they pray together, and church will never be done away with. God is never going to walk out on the church, because the church, for one, is us. We are the church, but we must gather together to get filled up spiritually, and we must gather together to be encouraged by one another, to see what God is doing in other people's lives, so that we can pray that God will do it in our lives, so that we can know how to walk out signs and wonders, so that we can know how to dig into the Bible and get the truth for ourselves, because God doesn't want us to rely on one man for truth. God wants us to study the Bible ourselves so that we know what the truth is. People, if you don't believe you need to go to church, you're going to be hurting in your walk with God, because you're going to be alone, because you're going to be trying to do this in your own strength and not in the strength of Christ. And I'm not saying that God can't make anything happen, but I'm telling you, it's a lot easier when you got a, sorry, I'm kind of blocking the camera there. But I'm telling you, it's a lot easier when you got a family backing you up, when you got a church that will stand behind you no matter what. Family, find yourself a church to plug into. Church is not the culprit. Church is not evil. Church is where we go to get prayed up, and then we can go into the world with what we learn in church. I love you all. Plug yourself into the body. Get unified. God bless.
Oh, you are